Aliens has kind of had a rough go in the video game world. Now, there have been some very bright spots, Alien Isolation and AVP2. Most people, though, remember the really bad ones like Colonial Marines and whatever that crappy mobile isolation sequel was called, Aliens Fireteam Elite or whatever, I don't even know. Then we've had Alien Blackout. It's pretty decent for a mobile game, I guess. But many fans of the franchise are eagerly awaiting the next big horror experience in the franchise. Now, or in the series, I mean. Now, I've said before that Colonial Marines was a good idea for a game. It was just a shame that it turned out so poorly because it pretty much put the nail in the coffin for that concept as a whole. Aliens is all about the Colonial Marines doing their best to fight off the xenomorphs before being overwhelmed and hunted down. Welcome to VideoGameLeaks, everybody. Chaos here. We have some juicy information about a new Aliens Horror FPS game. Yes, it looks like we're going to try it again, and hopefully this time it goes better. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have those notifications fully turned on. Now, it's a perfect action horror setup. Aliens is. Colonial Marines, it turned out better. Could have been one of the best games of the year. But what if I told you Sega is finally going forward with one more attempt at an action horror FPS concept? What if I told you we might actually be getting the Colonial Marines that we were promised all those years ago? The other day, a rather convincing 4chan post appeared from an anonymous source sharing a promotional poster and a number of details about the story and gameplay. Now, of course, take it with your proverbial 4chan grain of salt, because there's a number of things that raise red flags, but I want this one to be true. I do, and after hearing the details, I'm sure you're going to be with me on this one. So let me know what you think about all this. Drop a like, and let's jump into the leak. According to this leaker, Disney's acquisition of the 20th Century Fox and their properties will tie into a larger effort to make Aliens big in the world of video games again. Fireteam Elite was a decent success, but they want something bigger. They want something on the same level of quality and success as Alien Isolation, but with a bit more action thrown in to give it its own identity. Now, the leaker claims the new game is called Aliens Prometheus, and it will be announced at Disney's big game showcase next month. It's a really cool name, I like it. They attached an early promotional poster to the text, which looks pretty awesome at first glance, and while the release date on the poster simply says 2023, this leaker says there's a decent chance that it gets delayed till 2024 due to the scope of the project. Apparently, it's a big one. The story will take place between Alien 3 and 4 on a prosperous colony on the planet LV-223. Now, a group of scrapers find the remains of the Prometheus shuttle and accidentally unleash the alien queen who's been quietly surviving in isolation. The queen begins a new xenomorph outbreak that sends LV-223 into complete chaos, and the Colonial Marines are sent in to clean up the mess and contain the threat. Now, the leaker claims the story will be canon to the Aliens franchise and attempt to fill in some of the plot holes made by Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which I think that would be much appreciated by everybody that's a fan of the series. The leaker also claims Predators will show up at some point, meaning the Predators franchise will be made canon within the Aliens franchise, officially merging the two storylines into one, which I think that would be awesome. I truly would. Well, I mean, is Aliens vs. Predators not canon? Anyway, in terms of gameplay, the leaker described it as a mix of Call of Duty and Resident Evil Village. Your character is a female Marine stationed on LV-223, and the gameplay will be played from first person's perspective, which I think is the right choice to go here. It's a semi-open world game, basically like a Metroidvania, where you explore the colony, you backtrack, you figure out new ways to traverse, you go unlock previously locked areas, similar to Resident Evil Village. The aliens will be the main villains, but the Predator will serve as a stalker-type enemy that hunts you down at one point in the story. There will also be some squad mechanics that show up at a certain point, allowing you to boss other Marines around for combat and puzzle-solving reasons. There will also be multiple boss battles that the leaker again compared to Resident Evil. Now, apparently, Weyland Yutani will also show up in a few points in the story with their own private military, which is where more Call of Duty-type elements show up. So basically, the skeleton of Aliens Colonial Marines, but with the gameplay that blends COD with Resident Evil, which sounds like a slam dunk to me if it's done right. So what do I think about it? Well, let's calm down. I mean, it sounds amazing, but I actually don't know if it's legitimate. Most of my concerns come from the promotional poster that the leaker attached to the post. Now, aside from the fact that some Reddit and 4chan users are convinced the Aliens is from a piece of fan art instead of being legitimately new material, the company logos at the bottom of the poster are a little weird. They're a little wonky. It lists the console logos alongside Steam and the Epic Game Store, which that's normal, and then it lists Sega and 20th Century Studios at the end, but there's no developer listed, which that's kind of bizarre. Unless the leaker is suggesting that Sega themselves are developing it, which I don't see happening, that's a huge red flag. Now, honestly, I don't think Sega would be working on this game without help from a third party. I mean, Sega isn't an FPS studio, and every single time they've worked on an Alien game, they've had another company coming in alongside them. Colonial Marines was developed by Gearbox. Alien Isolation, developed by Creative Assembly. Aliens vs. Predator, developed by Rebellion. You guys get the idea. Sega just isn't really a developer of big shooting games, and I don't really believe they would be the heads of this project. Now, given the fact that Sega has some kind of tie to the Alien video game rights, of course they'll be involved with the project if it's real, but they simply would not be the developer. So the fact that there's no developer logo on the leaked promo image makes me think it could be illegitimate. I'm also a little iffy on the title. Prometheus was a prequel to the first Alien movie, so why would there be a video game called Aliens Prometheus? It takes place between the third and fourth Alien movies. Doesn't make sense. Love the title, love the connection if they could do it right, but there's been a lot of really stupid video game titles in recent years. I don't know. This one's confusing. I don't know. I mean, it's another red flag. So at the end of the day, the game sounds awesome. I really hope something along these lines is in production, but I just don't think this is it. I have no doubt that Sega and Disney want to revive Aliens in the video game world, but with how many holes there are in this supposed leak, I just don't know if this is how they're going to do it. I mean, I hate to break it to you guys, but I'm going to call Aliens Prometheus a fake at the moment. I hate to do that, and whoever posted it, I'm going to just go out and say I think they made it all up. I don't want them to be full of it, but I think that's my verdict for now, and I hope I have egg on my face. I hope we come back to this video in a few months or a year down the road and it was all absolutely true, and the leaker can come out and say, I told you so, Jimmy, you were wrong. I hope that's true, but right now, there's just too many red flags up. Now, that doesn't mean that something isn't being worked on. That doesn't mean that something isn't being concept-driven. Heck, that doesn't mean that this isn't happening. It just may not be happening in these standards. Then again, maybe the leaker has some truth to it. Maybe they got information that got misstrued, or maybe they have partial information and they tried to piece it together themselves. This happens all the time. So I'm not going to say 100% that we're not getting a new Aliens FPS horror game, because I don't truly believe that. I think if they're smart, they'll capitalize on the IP and try to do the fans justice, which they've been trying to do for years. Do I think this one's it? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Give me your thoughts in the comments section, and would you buy an Aliens FPS horror game on day one? I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon.